held something unnatural, like they saw too much, too deep. Guests who visited his estate, lured by his extravagant invitations, always left changed. Some refused to speak of what they had seen. Others were never heard from again. One evening, a journalist named Daniel Reeves received an invitation. He had spent years digging into Langley's past, but found nothing. No birth records, no family, no past addresses. It was as if the man had materialized out of nowhere. When Daniel arrived at Blackwood Estate, the butler, expressionless and gaunt, led him into a grand hall lit only by dim chandeliers. The air was thick, as if time itself was heavier here. Victor sat at the end of a long dining table, motionless, watching. His face was smooth, ageless, and impossibly still.
Mr. Langley?
Daniel began, his voice shaking slightly.
No one knows who you really are. Why is that?
Victor smiled, barely. A flicker of something unnatural passed over his face, because no one who learns the truth ever leaves. Daniel laughed nervously, but the silence that followed was suffocating. He glanced at the other guests, yet there were none. The butler had vanished. The candles flickered violently, casting shadows that didn't match his movements. Then he noticed it. His reflection in the grand mirror behind Victor was delayed. He moved his hand, and a second later, his reflection followed. But Victor's reflection wasn't there at all. Daniel's breath caught in his throat.
You've been watching me for some time, haven't you?
Victor whispered, his voice slithering through the air. Now it's my turn. The doors slammed shut. The chandelier's flames turned blue. The air grew colder, thick with something ancient. Daniel tried to move, but his body was no longer his to command. His reflection, grinning madly, turned to face him. You wanted the truth. Victor's voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. Now, you will become part of it. The next morning, Blackwood Estate remained as it always had, silent, undisturbed. Daniel Reeves was never seen again. But in the grand mirror